From every strand on the line of your reel, to the rods, to the anglers, to the lures on the end of your hook, let's talk about those big bass here on Co-Angler's Corner with your hosts, Rob Welch and John Stoucher.
Hi, y'all are. Cajun Rob here hanging out with you. I got my good friend, Miss Tricia McGraw. How you doing tonight, Tricia?
I'm great, Rob. Thanks for having me on again.
Yep. Thank you. And I've seen them. Fishers everywhere. It seems like they're every weekend or somewhere. I saw them in Knoxville. Had a great setup. I think y'all had a good time. Had a good event. So it's glad to see you guys there.
We did. We had an amazing show in Knoxville. Sheila puts on an awesome show. But this past weekend, we were in Indiana at Danville, and Ray Rigsby runs that show. He runs the Danville and the Lawrenceburg show. Yeah. And both of them were amazing for us too. We're kind of lagged because we've had 3 expos in the last 4 weeks and still have 2 more coming up before we actually get to take a break for a few weeks. But it's been busy, but we've had a lot of fun.
Oh, absolutely. And I said, and I keep seeing young ladies like we was talking earlier. Miss Carly Prevette, she was caught a nice one a while ago and had it on the website with a 4-1. So that was pretty impressive.
Yeah, we're running a competition with our pro staff this year. Whoever has the largest fish by December 31st will either give them one of our casting, one of our spinning rods, the pair of those, or they'll get $500 cash in their pocket. So it's just a nice incentive for the ladies to get on the water and just some friendly competition. And yeah, Carly just took the lead on that today with that 4-1, which we've got some Texas ladies too. So I'm sure, and Rhonda Pitts is on our team. So I'm sure we'll have some bigger bass turned in before the end of the year, but it was a nice jump start to get the year rolling.
Oh yeah, Miss Carly made a statement. I'll hand it to her there.
Yes.
There's your partner in crime chiming in. Miss
Yep.
Angie, she said, took me a minute, found it. Hashtag hookers at work. Hi, Rob. Hi, Angie. Good to see you. Glad you're doing good.
Yeah. Hi, Angie. Long time no see, since last night when we rolled in. Poor Angie had to work 10 hours today, and then her husband had a procedure too, and I won't get into detail on that, but she stayed with me all weekend, and I know she probably didn't get home till about 10:30 last night, but she stayed the weekend. We had a great time in Indiana, met a lot of new interesting people, have some retailers that reached out to us in that area as well as in Knoxville. So we're looking to hopefully get Fish Her down into some more retail stores further away from Ohio. We're already in 4 in our area in Ohio and surrounding states. But we were looking to, with the expos this year, hopefully expand into some other areas, just for easy accessibility for lady anglers. And it looks like the ball is rolling on that as well.
Oh, absolutely. Y'all knocking that out of the park for sure. Real quick, we got a quick comment from Angie. Says Fisher always has a great time at our events. I'll agree with that statement.
We had a lot of fun this weekend, and like I said, it was busy. And Julie Levitt, she just joined our team in January. We met her she had actually reached out to us, and she was an Indiana girl. And I told her, we were kind of preoccupied with getting ready for Lawrenceburg, and she said, "Well, I'll come down there and meet you." So we met Julie and spoke to her, and we added her to the Fish Her team. And then she came and helped us at the Indiana Fishing Expo this weekend as well.
Nice. And got a quick question for Miss Rhonda Pitts. She says, is there a smallmouth / largemouth differential for the tournament?
For our tournament, Rhonda, no. It's just big bass. So brown fish or blackfish, black bass, green bass, however you want to put it. I know down south they call it a black bass. Up here we call it a green bass. But yeah, no differential for that. Spotted smallmouth or largemouth all go into the same kitty for our Fish Her competition.
Outstanding. There'll be some tanks come in, I guarantee you. So
yeah, I was just talking to Rhonda before I got on with you tonight, and we're trying to coordinate a trip for our Fish Her girls somewhere centralized for this fall to try to get the entire team together, because we've got them from Kansas, from Texas, from Arkansas, South Carolina, Georgia, all over now. And we were talking about getting Rhonda up to Lake Erie, because she said she'd gotten away from shaky head fishing a little bit as well, just like you.
Yep. Yep, I did.
But she's wanting to come up to Lake Erie and do some fishing with us this summer. So
Yeah. She said, well, Rhonda Pitt said, "Dang, I could win twice." So that's confidence. That's some confidence.
yes, she's a heck of an angler. I mean, she's going to be a tough one to beat, but
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, we've got a really strong girls team going. You know, we got Abby Reynolds out of Kentucky. We just picked her up as well.
Yeah.
We've got and she's fishing the Southern Toyota event, as well as Julie Levitt, who we talked about, is fishing the Southern Toyota event, and then Ashley Claus is going as a boater this year, and then we've got Lori Ard and Carly and Pam Horn, and we just
Wow.
Paige Tatum. We've
Yep.
got a pretty massive team now. Kate Ho's been fishing the BFLs out and around Hartwell. She just had a tournament again on Hartwell this week, and last week I believe she took second or third place in
Nice.
the last BFL tournament that she fished.
Nice. Yeah, I know Miss Abby. I've seen her in the mountain division, and she's always about 30, 40 spots ahead of me. So hats off to her.
Abby's pretty tough.
Yeah, she
We
is.
actually fished Dale Hollow a few years ago. The first time I met Abby, we caught a really bad day of weather, and we decided that we were going to go over to land big fish.
Yep.
And she was working her weekends over at Land Big Fish there, and we met her there and became quick friends. She's been out on the boat with us several times. I let her run the Pink Phoenix when we were down there 2 years ago.
Nice.
And her significant other, Tristan, I mean, he's pretty tough too. So we just finished up jerseys for the two of them, and we're looking forward to both of them fishing the Southern Toyota events this year.
Nice. But real quick, maybe the folks that watching is not familiar with Fisher, you want to kind of give a quick history. I know y'all have been about a year, a little over a year, and y'all have done some amazing things. So if you want to kind of go over kind of your history, how you started, and just kind of go from there if you want to.
We're actually coming up on our 2-year anniversary, which will be February 13th. But Angie and I both tournament fish. We actually met at an event, a Toyota event down at Lake Gunnersville 4 years ago. She was fishing as a non-boater. My husband was fishing as a boater. It was 13 degrees tournament morning, and I pre-fished with my husband, but there was no way in heck I was getting in the boat at 13 degrees in Alabama. Now, mind you, it was 70 degrees. We were in shorts and t-shirts pre-fishing. So he told me that there was a lady co-angler, and I thought, well, I got to meet whoever this lady is that's crazy enough to be fishing when it's 13 degrees. And I met Angie at the weigh-in. We became quick friends. Come to find out, she lived 35 minutes from me.
Oh, hey.
So we met at Gunnersville, and she lives down the road from me here in Ohio. But we went to the fishing expo 2 years ago in Columbus. And for years, I'd asked retailers, why aren't you doing anything for lady anglers? And, ladies make up a small portion of the field, when you show up at the tournaments, but they're not a small portion of anglers. There's a lot of ladies who don't have the confidence to go out and fish a tournament, especially with a stranger, at the BFL level, Toyota level, things like that. But they do still love to fish. So we couldn't get them to reciprocate what we wanted. So we decided we were going to go ahead and launch Fisher. And we had went to that Columbus Expo 2 years ago. And when we left, we were disappointed, couldn't find anything for ladies once again. And we sat for lunch and came up with this idea that we were going to launch something that was specifically driven to lady anglers. And, the funny thing is I raised all girls. Well, when I would go to the expos with my husband, I could find things for me because I'm a tournament angler. I could find reels, I could find baits, I could find rods, stuff like that. But ladies who aren't necessarily tournament angler, or the daughters of the male anglers that show up at these expos, that's not the kind of stuff that they were looking for. They want to see the flash of pink. They want to see the fun stuff for ladies. So that's what we have tried over the last 2 years to develop. And we've had a lot of trial and errors, just like any company. We've evolved quite a bit in the last 2 years. When we started, we were doing funny prints on on t-shirts, just graphics. Now, mind you, I'd never run a Cricut before in my life. I'd never run a heat press. My history has nothing to do with marketing or any of that. But like I said, since then we've evolved, and the fellows liked our jerseys so much, we brought in the men's line, and then we brought in the youth line too. And I got to just tell you, it's extremely rewarding when you set up these expos and events, and you see the little girls' faces when they round the corner and they see the pink. They just all struck. They love it, and we've had so much fun doing it. But I raised the 3 girls. I've got a granddaughter. They never wanted to go to the expos with us because there wasn't things for them there.
Yeah. Right.
It's boring. We don't want to go. All of that. Well, we've developed something now. When we show up at the expos, we do have something for the girls.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And it's like a like I say, it's like a magnet. That pink's just like a magnet.
Well, you've got all these bait manufacturers and rod and reel companies and things set up, and like I said, girls are totally different than guys when it comes to shopping. If I'm shopping for me for something, I'm looking for something that catches my eye, and then I worry about functionality. Men are more functional. Women just aren't created that way. They like the pinks, they like they like the teals. We've got Carly Joe likes backwoods camo. They're very specific in their wants and needs and their taste. But I will tell you, at Indiana this weekend, I did meet the fellas. They were actually set up next door to us, and they were fun. From Outlaw Crappie Poles.
Yeah.
And they design and make their own rods, but they actually gave me a pretty pink rod this weekend. So
that's cool.
It is a nice spinning rod, and I'm looking forward to getting it out. I asked him, I said, well, will that hold a 6-pound smallmouth? He said, you'll have to let me know. He said, it will. He said, now we primarily crappie fish, but it will hold a 6 or 7 pound smallmouth. I said, okay, well, we'll find out this summer. But yeah, they were just a lot of fun. And we've had so much fun meeting these other vendors. And like I said, the girls and the ladies that we've made contact with, as well as the businesses. It's just been amazing for us.
Absolutely. And got a couple of comments I'm going to roll through real quick. Said Miss Rhonda Pitt said, going to be some tough competition. I absolutely agree with that.
Like I said, we've got a group of really tough ladies. And I can't even guess who's going to win it this year. We just, like I said, wanted to do something fun, from the marketing aspect of it, as well as create, those friendships and that just a little bit of competition between the girls.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And speaking of which, you got one of your pro staff here, Miss Ashley Klaus. Hey, y'all.
Hi, Miss Ashley.
Now that's a lady that fishes a shaky head, I know. So.
Yes, she does. She loves the shaky head.
Absolutely.
And I will tell you, Miss Abby does as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then got Miss LaTanya Blanding. Say hi, everyone.
Hi,
hey,
Miss LaTanya.
Honey, hope you're doing well.
Things are slowing down for me, LaTanya, and I'll be getting that jersey out to you this week. I'm anxious to get a picture when you get to try it on.
Awesome. And Troy Mims checking in. Say, hey, guys. How you going, Troy? All right. And Troy says, Rob, after the show, check out the BFL results at Lake Hartwell this past weekend. I'll check that out. I was in West Virginia most of the weekend, so I'll have to do some catching up, man. But thanks for the heads up. I'll check that out.
Hey, and after the show, you all be sure to check out our Facebook page, because I will be getting that photo from Angie of Rob in his bikini at the Knoxville Expo.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. That was a fun show.
We did have fun.
Oh yeah, it was a blast. But anyway, let's talk about shaky heads. Let's go kind of over your shaky head and kind of what you like and your setup, and what you kind of what your best setup for shaky head is, because I need a refresher.
Well, I'm cheap. Okay.
Yep.
There may be worms that work better. I will tell you, I am not sponsored in any way by these bait manufacturers that I use. My favorite for a shaky head is a Zoom trick worm.
Absolutely.
Like I said, cheap, come in the 20 packs. So, if the bass tear them up, you're not out anything when you tie on that next one. But I will tell you, when the bass do start to booger it up, they do seem to like it a little bit better.
Yep.
But for the shaky head, I use Buckeye lures. I like the 1/8 ounce.
Yep.
Just a more natural fall. When you flip it in the water. So I like that like I said, that 1/8 ounce. Here's the package. Buckeye lures, spot remover, shaky head. This is the one that I use all the time. I've tried some other ones that haven't worked as well, and I have a local friend who's developing some for me, pouring some right now, so we'll see how that works.
Nice.
But as of right now, I use the Buckeye lures. Now, if you mess with these shaky heads, they are a pain in the butt to screw on the tip of a worm. And I'm going to be proper and just pinch the tip of it off. If I'm in the boat and my hands are cold or what, I'll just bite it off.
Yeah, I do the same thing.
Yeah. I'll try to be proper for the podcast, Rob.
Are you good?
So like I said, that green pumpkin trickworm. Now, green pumpkin's my primary color, but there's areas that you have to fluctuate what color on if the water's clear, if the water's darker. For Kentucky Lake, I like red bug or I like green pumpkin red.
Yep.
For most Ohio waters, including Lake Erie, I like the green pumpkin.
Yep.
I've found that on Pickwick, the red bug works as well. The green pumpkin works better.
Yep.
They say that Tennessee River chain, you know, they like red bug really well. I haven't found that they like it better than green pumpkin.
Yeah.
So I've got my setup here. So when it's in the water and it's laying flat, that tail is just loose in the current and shaking. Now, the other thing I use is a spike it. Again, not sponsored by them whatsoever. I just like to give it a little bit of scent. It's not even, for me, it's not about the chartreuse color. I like that it gives it a little bit of a scent or flavor for the bass. I just think they hold on to it longer.
Oh, absolutely.
So again, just paint the tip of it.
Yep.
Just a smidge. So I have my G Loomis rod. I did have my fish sticks rod out there, but it needs new line on it. So I went ahead and brought my G Loomis in.
Okay.
And this, or actually I did bring my fish sticks rod. I'm sorry. It was the G Loomis that needed line.
Oh, okay.
So this is one of our custom fisher rods, Rob. So this is a 6'10" medium heavy, fast action, shortened grip.
Yep.
For the lady anglers.
Also good for kayak anglers. Kayak anglers like that shorter butt section as well.
Yes. Well, and bigger fellas too, because they're constantly go to set the hook and they're catching themselves and, you know, not getting the right hook set and missing fish because of it.
Yeah. And when you got a hoodie on, it catches that pocket. I've had it happen. It's like.
Or jacket or Yep. Anything bulky. Yes. So I just use the standard polymer knot. And I should have put my glasses on, but that's what works.
I understand. I got some new glasses on the way Friday, so I understand.
Whatever you're comfortable with, knot wise, these aren't difficult baits. You can tie them up any way you want. Polymer works best for me. The only time I usually lose one of these baits is if I break it off in rocks, because I do love to fish shaky head on a rocky bottom. So.
And I've talking about rocks. I've done real well, like on a big boulder. If you're going down a bank and you see one big boulder, I always cast there. It seems like there's always fish on the bigger boulder. If you got one bigger boulder on a long stretch, there's always going to be a fish here.
Yes, always. If you've got a stretch that's got just a bunch of pea gravel on it, and then you see some chunk rock right there at that change where it changes from the pea gravel to that chunk rock, that's where they'll lay.
Absolutely.
So again, it's simple, and this is the easiest bait in the world. When I started fishing with my husband, and we've had this talk before, I had never fished in my life until my husband started taking me fishing.
Yep.
And at that time, I was in my late 20s. He and I were both on our second marriage. We had 5 kids between us, all of them living under the same roof.
Oh, wow.
So if we wanted to go to the movies or to dinner, one or all 5 of the kids wanted to go.
Yeah.
So he started taking me to a weeknight tournament, 3-hour tournament, just so we could go, you know, talk about work, talk about the kids, you know, whatever, without having the children with us. So that's how I started fishing. And because I had never fished, I started with a crankbait. Yeah. Which now you can't hardly catch me throwing a crankbait. So I know a lot of people have success on crankbaits. I'm more of a finesse fisherman. Yeah. I don't like crankbaits. I just who I am.
Oh, I understand.
But anyway, you'll see it's tied up here. The thing I like about the shaky head is it's probably the most versatile bait that you will throw.
Absolutely.
Because you can throw it fast, you can throw it slow. I like, especially on lakes with current, I like to toss it in and let the current do the work for me.
Yeah.
Like Pickwick, Kentucky Lake. Now, if it's stagnant, if they're not pulling water for the day, you'll have to put a little bit of action on the bait. But my husband and I fished Pickwick about 3 years ago in the fall, and we were fishing just some rock walls.
Yeah.
And of course, fall transition's a tough time anyway on any lake. But we were fishing some rock bluffs, and I was up on him probably, and we were throwing the same bait. I was up on him probably close to 20 fish to 1 or 2. And he's like, "What are you doing different?" Because, he was running the front of the boat, and here I am in the back of the boat out fishing him. And he started watching and then caught up with me a little bit. But he was throwing a little bit heavier shaky head. For deeper water, he likes the heavier shaky head.
Yeah.
I don't. I just think the 1/8 ounce is more natural.
Yeah.
But he'll throw a 3/8 or a quarter in deeper water. But I was throwing the 1/8, and even though the current was ripping through, I was just flipping it in there and then letting the current take it around the wood and stuff. If when it would catch up on something, pop it off, and keep just letting it basically float and keep the slack out of my line. Well, he wasn't doing that. He was trying to work it, because a lot of people work a shaky head like a jig.
Yeah.
And that's not necessary. The current, the wakes will put enough action on that tail to where you don't have to do a lot of work with the bait itself. You just got to find the fish, and they'll catch them. And the thing I like most about a shaky head is it catches all of them. Catches the 11-inch, Ohio River bass, and it catches the six pounders up at Lake Erie.
Absolutely. And another thing I like about that Zoom trick worm, it's got a flat side. I think it makes it kind of go at an angle, and it slows that fall down a lot.
Yes, it does. And like with the Buckeye lure shaky head, I think it's the shape of the head itself where it keeps that tail higher up in the water column. Yep. So even bass that are suspended, you can catch them on the shaky head. They're not always bottom feeding when they hit the shaky head. And like I said, it's got that flat head on it. And some of them you'll find are, rounded head, or the slant on the head is tilted to where, but it's not putting that worm up in the water column. It's keeping it down because of the slope of the head itself.
Yeah, actually, and I like when you got like a little cliff wall and you got the little rocks, and you kind of step it down, like going down the stairs. That does really good around here.
It really does. And fishing these on rock is amazing. I mean, you're going to break some off, and they are kind of costly, but the fish love them on the rocks. I mean, it just gives that extra action to the worm, when you're fishing it back to the boat. That the action of the rocks itself, it's not you putting additional action on the bait. It's more natural because they're used to bait, if it hit, or a bait fish, or I think they think this is a bluegill, honestly. I don't think they think it's a worm, but they're used to, bait ticking when it hits a rock, or changing direction.
Absolutely. Go through, we got a few more comments here. We're going to run through real quick. Miss LaTanya says, "Thank you. I know you're busy. I understand 100%. So she's talking about that earlier.
I appreciate you, LaTanya.
And she says, "Zoom is my go-to." Yep,
yes,
it is. Great one. And she says, "My favorite lure and soft plastic for the shaky head. It's a classic for a reason." And even your pro staffer, Miss Ashley, she's the only shaky head I throw. And I know she threw that at the All-American. I was watching. I know you threw that at the All-American.
She likes her shaky head. She's
absolutely.
And like I said, Abby does as well. I think that's why we all get along so well. We have, and Angie became a believer. I will tell you, when I first started fishing with Angie, she and I went down to Toho for the ICAST tournament 3 years ago.
Yep.
And she and I fished that. And I wasn't throwing a shaky head down there because that water is like brown, like coffee brown. It was, I never fished water like that. So we were actually throwing a Reaction Innovation beaver down there in black and blue, just so the fish could see it. But when we came back and we actually started getting on the water more together, because at that time I had just gotten my crest liner. And when we started getting on the water more together, she was a spinnerbait girl. That, or she liked to throw heavy weights with her stuff. And I'm like, Angie, you don't have to do that. You don't have to throw heavy weights. So now she'll throw her a shaky head. And it's funny, she has her own camper at Lake Erie now, but she used to come up and stay with me pretty often. That, or we would set up my second camper for her. And she's a morning person, and I am not, Rob. So Angie would get up an hour or so before I would, and by the time I'd crawl out of bed, she was already out fishing in the canal with a shaky head. So She is on the boat with me enough now that she's a believer in the shaky head. But she and I both made it into the state qualifier tournament for Ohio Bass Nation. Hopefully one of us get to the classic, but we fished Rocky Fork, which is about 45 minutes from my home in Hillsboro, Ohio. And it's really an amazing fishery for a small lake. But every fish that I caught and every fish that Angie caught came on the shaky head.
Oh, wow. Can't beat that.
No, I had a non-boater that picked a couple up on a chatterbait. I'm sure her boater caught some fish on something other than the shaky head, but I can tell you, she and I did both make it into that state qualifier, and every fish we caught came on the shaky heads with the green pumpkin trickworm.
Yeah, and she just commented in. She says, "Early chick gets the bass." Or she makes the coffee. Maybe she makes the coffee.
No, she doesn't like coffee, so she doesn't take care of me that way, Rob. Now, she's across the canal from me now. She has her own camper up there, and I told her I'm going to get a potato gun in the morning, so when I catch her out there fishing in the mornings, I can shoot potatoes across the canal at her.
There you go.
We're actually trying to talk our husbands into a paddle boat.
Oh, nice.
So we don't have to drive the long way around
to
visit. We can just go back and forth on a paddle boat. But
that makes sense.
Yeah, they're not buying into it quite yet, but there's still some work to be done there.
Tell them to save them gas. It'll save money and gas. I'll get it.
Absolutely. Well, my husband and I, when we go up, he runs his own boat too.
Yeah.
So we usually take both boats with us.
Okay.
So, yeah, we ain't saving no money.
Hey.
It's more like you don't have to, get dirt on the boat going around the drive, or have to, go through the inconvenience of unhooking the boat to go over there.
Oh, yeah, I understand. And Angie says, they think we will drown.
Yeah, they're worried that, being at the campground, there may or may not be alcohol involved, and that we would, not that we would ever do that.
No, surely not. Maybe a little antifreeze once in a while. That's all right.
Well, the thing is up there, our campers are right on the canal. So you can, and I posted pictures last year. I'm sure you saw them. I counted in 45 minutes. I caught 13 bass right beside my standing right beside my camper, standing beside my boat.
Yeah.
And just, one small little boat slip. It's just amazing up there. There's absolutely nothing like it. And my husband and I have traveled all over fishing, and there was nothing like going to Lake Erie.
Yeah, I mean, it catches everything in the area. As I said, smalls, shorts, 2-3 pounders, 5 pounders. I mean, whatever's there, it'll catch them.
Oh, this bait is phenomenal. And if I had to go to a tournament tomorrow and they told me you can only have one bait, one rod, one bait, this is what I would be throwing.
That'd be it. I got you. Now online, do you go braid to fluoro or straight fluoro? What's your favorite line setup?
Straight fluoro on these. Okay. Usually I'll use 15 pound. If I'm fishing heavy weeds somewhere, I'll throw 17 pounds. Yep. I rarely go over 17. Now, if I'm fishing super clear water, I'll minimize it down to 12 pounds, but I never use braid in a leader with these.
Okay. Got you. And real quick, got my old friend Roy Widgeon from Kayak Magazine. Hey, Roy.
Hi, Roy.
Hey, I got a question for you later, Roy, on I'm looking at some kayak, like somewhere to put my kayak in the garage, like there's the little chair looking things, or but I'll ask you opinion about that later, man. But that's y'all check out Kayak Magazine. He always has some great content on there. And Miss Ashley says it stays tied on and on my deck. Oh, I got no doubt.
The funny thing is with this worm, I usually have it tied 2 ways on my deck. A Zoom worm, especially if I'm fishing in weeds.
Yeah.
I'll use the shaky head, but if I'm fishing heavy weeds, I'll put a 16th ounce tungsten on. Yeah. And Texas rig the same Zoom trick worm on that. Just like I said, 16th ounce weight. That way, when it's falling through the weeds, it just kind of ticks the weeds.
Yeah.
And initiates that strike with the bass. And it doesn't get caught up in the weeds. I mean, you can fish that worm on a 16th ounce weight and crazy thick weeds. Now, they make a 16th ounce on the shaky head too.
Yep.
I haven't really found a reason to throw that. If it's somewhere where the 1/8 ounce is going to get bogged down with weeds, the 16th ounce grabs the weeds too.
Yeah. I used to do like docks around that and have it kind of slowly fall around the dock poles. And that works pretty good too.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's outstanding. But What is the biggest bass you've got on the shaky head so far? What's your personal best just on the shaky head?
Right at 6 pounds.
Oh wow,
And that was
that's
on
a beast.
Lake Erie. But we were fishing Michigan water, not Ohio water. So
Okay, I got you.
but yeah, right at 6 pounds. But I don't live in Texas or Florida. We don't get those Florida strains up here in Ohio. So that's a pretty big fish for Ohio waters.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And yeah, I fished the Ohio River a couple times, and man,
Okay.
I've struggled. I mean, it's 8, 10 inch fish. I think I got one keeper on a buzz bait, and I almost cashed a check on that one fish, and it was
Yes.
out of where was that at? I think it was on the creek close to Cincinnati. I always forget the name of it. The big boat launch they got there.
Are you talking about Tanner's Creek Pool or?
Yep, Tanner's Creek. Yeah, Tanner's Creek.
Yes.
Yep.
The river, it's so hard to pattern the river. We
Yeah.
went down before the BFL the year before last and spent a month down there in our camper, and it was just every day the fish were doing something different. And when
Oh
you
yeah.
you set the hook, you didn't know if it was an 8-inch bass or it was a pound and a half. Because I'll say in Tanner's Creek they don't get much over a pound and a half.
Yep.
It's a really really tough fishery. But if you talk to fellas like Bill Lowen, who grew up fishing the river, if you learn to fish the Ohio River, you can take what you learned there and use it anywhere.
Oh,
So,
absolutely.
I haven't quite learned how to fish the Ohio River, so I don't know what I'm going to
That's
do
me.
anywhere else, I suppose. But I will say this: we ran into Bill Lowen at the Indiana Fishing Expo.
Yeah, I seen the picture. Yeah, I seen y'all's
And
picture.
I had met him in Missouri at Table Rock, at one of the sportsman's venues down there. He was talking at a store down there, sporting goods
Yeah.
store. And my husband and I had met him about 8 years ago down there. And just nicest guy ever. But when he approached me yesterday, he knew who I was. He didn't
Yeah.
remember my name. He said, "I think I met you before in Missouri." And I said, "Yeah." I said, "At Table Rock Lake." But just a super good guy. And he
Yeah.
looked around. He's like, "I really like what you girls are doing. Is there anything you need? Can I do anything to help?" And I just thought that was amazing that, because he knows that we are trying to do things to give lady anglers the confidence to get on the water and to try to empower them somewhat to go out and fish, because
Oh yeah.
I think a lot of the manufacturers just forget that, women are a huge part of it.
Oh yeah.
Even if the tournaments don't show it. And I will tell you from personal experience, when the kids were being raised, it was hard for my husband and I to both get away to go fishing.
Yeah.
And, so he was primarily the one that would go fish. Well, now that the kids are raised, we can both go fish. But, even when we were raising the kids, I was still showing up and pre-fishing with him. I was
Yeah.
still that supportive wife. I still wanted to be on the water with him. And, some of the manufacturers just don't understand that side of it, I guess.
Yeah.
But I look to see a lot more ladies getting involved. I'm just, like I said, I've seen a huge drive. Bassmaster launched.
Yeah.
And I think they're doing a lot to try to educate and promote lady anglers. We've got 2 chicks on a boat up here in Ohio, and they do some traveling and they do instructional classes. Kate Ho is a DNR instructor, and she does instructional seminars for ladies. You've got, the LBAA and down south, and then the East Texas Lady Anglers.
Yeah.
So there's a lot more groups popping up that make it more comfortable for ladies to be on the water. And like I said, I stay comfortable. I'm okay getting in a boat with a stranger, but I'm retired from the Department of Corrections.
Yep.
There's a lot of ladies who just don't want to be in the boat with a strange man, nor do their husband want them in the boat with a strange man. And in
Yep.
some cases, the boater or whatever, or the non-boater, whichever the case may be, if it's a man, their wife doesn't want them in the boat with another lady.
Yep.
So it's really kind of disheartening when you hear things like that, because like when I get on the water, it's just to go fish.
Oh yeah.
For
Oh yeah.
8 hours. It doesn't matter who I'm in the boat with. I'm going to make every cast that I can. I'm going to try to catch every fish that I can, and I want to have a fun, relaxing day on the water.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Now, Miss Ashley just chimed in and said our personal best on Shake 706. Wow,
Oh, wow.
that's impressive.
I'm going to have to do some Georgia fishing.
That's impressive.
I'm coming your way, Ashley.
There you go. There you go.
With Pinky, the Pink Phoenix.
Oh, there you go. That's even better. And Miss Allie Eve Cole Blake, will you talk about how you set the hook with a shaky head?
Oh, absolutely. So when that fish bites, I'll reel down to the fish and make sure that there's no slack in my line, and I do a heavy hook set. I mean,
Okay.
I set it like I'm trying to throw it through the roof.
Yeah, like a
It's
jig
not,
set it, like a jig set. Or
yes, like a jig set. When you set the hook for a shaky head, honey, you set it with every ounce of strength you've got in your upper body. Just make sure the slack's out of the line.
Yeah.
First, you know, a lot of people don't do that, and they'll miss fish not doing that. Some people say if you set it too hard, you'll pull the bait out of the fish's mouth. No. If that fish has the bait, you give it every ounce you've got in your upper body to set that hook. Just make sure there's no slack there.
Yeah, and I've seen them take shaky head and just like, hey, there's a fish, you know, and they'll hold on to it for a while too.
They will hold on to it for a long time. That's the thing I like about a shaky head is, I mean, you can watch them swim with the bait. If you're one of those people who's not real reactionary, real quick sometimes, which I'm sure I have my moments where I'm not real reactive, you know, just slower than other times. Those fish will hold on to that bait. It seems like forever, and they give you plenty of opportunity. Heck, they'll tighten the line themselves.
Oh yeah,
swimming off with it.
Yep. And Angie says duck. Sound like she's talking from experience.
Yeah. Yeah. When I set the hook. Yes. I've about hit Angie on more than one occasion with a shaky head.
Yep. And Miss Latanya says, heck yeah. So I say she's got a hammer of a hook set as well.
Yes.
Well, that's funny you say that, because I was at Watts Bar to BFL and my boater was getting a fish in. Of course, you know, I netted his fish, and he says, hey man, I was throwing a shaky head, and it says, hey man, I think you're hung up. I said, I'll get it here in a minute, you know, no big deal. So I netted his fish, and I'm at the bank, and my line's like in the middle of the cove. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. And I don't know how long that fish was on there, but a few minutes, and he was still on there. I pulled him in, and so I don't know how long that fish was, but I said it was funny because my line was at the shore, and I'm like, wait a minute. Oh, heck. You know, it took me a minute to register, hey, there's a fish on there.
And so, Rob, I've actually had instances where I've, you know, put fish back to keep from killing them because, you know, they've swallowed the hook so deep because you've given them too long before you set the hook. Yeah. And it's just, like I said, it's one of those baits that they don't generally, it's not like smacking at a jerk bait or smacking at a crank bait. Or it's, if they take that bait, they want that bait.
Oh, yeah. And they're swimming off with it.
Yes. They're taking it, buddy.
Oh, yeah. And I said, luckily, mine didn't swallow it. He had it way back, but he didn't have it in his, you know, his guzzle, as we say. But yeah, I don't know how long that fish was on there, but my buddy says, I think you're hung up. I'll get it in a minute, man. Don't worry about it. So got his fish in, and I was like, fish? You know, it took me as old as my mind is. Fish.
You know, when I started fishing with my husband, he taught me to use a bait caster. Okay. I had never until 2 years ago even thrown like a spinning reel.
Yep.
And he taught me with a left-handed bait caster. Now, mind you, I'm right-handed.
Yep.
The thing I like about throwing left-handed and being a right-handed angler is when I cast, my hand's immediately on that reel.
Oh, yeah.
You don't have to switch hands.
Yep.
And I think a lot of people miss bites by doing that change. Because if a fish is going to grab a bait, usually they're going to grab it as soon as it hits the water.
Oh, yeah. I've had so many times where your bait hits the water. As soon as it hits the water, they grab it.
And like I said, a lot of times you'll miss bites if you're switching that reel and rod over to your other hand. It's just easy to miss. But I'll tell you what, I did have a terrible transition trying to learn to throw a spinning reel for the Detroit River.
Yep.
Because I went up there with Shaky Head a couple years ago. The first time I ever fished up there with the husband, and just thought, you know, I'm going to wax his butt up here, you know, because you know Smalley like the Shaky Head too.
Oh yeah.
Well, they do if they're up on shallow rock bars, but if you're in the deeper water targeting Smalley, you better have a drop shot.
Oh yeah.
Okay. And he got up on me about 25 fish to one, and I finally picked up one of his spinning rods and hooked him in the ear the first time I cast it, because I had no idea. I mean, I'd never thrown a spinning reel. I'd never used one, never had a reason to, but we're pretty well versed after all our trips to Lake Erie on how to throw a spinning reel now.
Oh yeah.
But that was an interesting transition for me. Now he likes to throw a Shaky Head on his spinning rod.
Yeah, yeah.
So like I said, I like that heavy duty. Give me that 7'5",
Yep.
medium heavy action rod, and let me go to work. So.
Oh yeah, it's whatever's comfortable for you.
Yeah.
Got a couple more comments in. Ashley says, "I'm setting the hook like I'm hooking a marlin."
Exactly.
Or in her case, an alligator. So yeah.
Alligators down there. Yes.
It Ashley says also, "You are welcome down here with me anytime, Pinky too." So I think she's
Thank you, Ashley.
that's an invite.
Yes.
Crappie Kev says, "I like the Nico rig a little better, less hang-ups in the rocks." Now, I'll tell you what, Kev, I used that on that Nico in Guntersville one time, and it comes through grass pretty good. I think I had a Nico rig Cinco, and I was surprised how good it slide through the grass. So yeah, that is a good technique as well.
She said I'm a hand swapper.
Yep. Yeah.
Hey,
quick
Ashley,
draw.
We'll get you taught the right way, babe.
That's quick draw right there.
Quick draw.
Edgy says, "Everyone have a great evening. Exhausted, so turn in early." Oh, I know you've put some miles in, so well-deserved break.
She worked 10 hours today too, so
Ooh.
yeah.
Ooh.
Good night, Angie. I'll call you later and wake you up.
There you go. What a grinder! That's whew. You got more energy than I got. There's our old friend that was on the show last night, Jeremy May, said, "Hello, ladies and gents."
Hi,
hello,
Jeremy.
Mr. May. How's it going, my friend? But yeah, here in Kentucky, seems like that Shakey is like a spotted bass, a lot of Kentucky spotted bass, and that's like spotted bass candy here.
Yeah. Now I will tell you, my husband, and there's a lot of people that are in denial about it. My husband went out a few years ago with Jake Lawrence before Jake really started, fishing the big tournaments and stuff. Jake was the electronics guru on Kentucky Lake. So we had just, upgraded the electronics. It's when the Ultrex first came out and all that good stuff. So we had upgraded the electronics. So he hired Jake to show him how to read his electronics and stuff down there. And they were down there fishing together, and back then we had a Ranger, but they were fishing, and the old man was throwing on the drops with a shaky head, and Jake that wasn't in his repertoire at the time, but he quickly learned to start throwing the shaky head down there on the Tennessee River chain as well.
Oh, that's a deadly technique down there.
It really is. Like I said, to me, I'm not really a power fisherman. I'm not gonna sit and flick a jerk bait for an 8-hour tournament. I'm not gonna throw, a freaking 2-pound crankbait or glide bait during a tournament. I'm not a Alabama rig kind of girl. Just give me my shaky head, or let me Texas rig something up. And I'll usually come away with 5.
Oh yeah, I mean, tough as this being, tough conditions, seems like the bite's getting tougher and tougher. Yeah, that's a good way to go.
I think the fish are learning their techniques.
Oh yeah.
When the frog first came out, and we were using live target frog down here around home, and it was like every cast you would catch fish on that frog, and now you'll still catch it, but it better be early in the morning or at dusk. Or they're not going to feed on that frog. But like I said, when that live target first came out, 8 or 10 years ago, whatever it was every cast you could catch them. It didn't matter the time of day.
It's like the Alabama rig. Rig is the same way now.
And I kind of liken it to like deer. It's like deer up here know when it's gun season. It's like they go hide. They bury up in the brush. I figure bass on some level know if it's tournament day.
I think they feel the pressure of the boats. Like on the weekends, they can feel more boats. They know something's up. Yes. They don't know what it is. They just know something, and they're a little more guarded. They know
something's askew. Yes.
Oh yeah. I think they feel that. A couple more comments. Ashley says, "I throw a spinning rod left-handed." Hey Ashley, I do the same thing. I'm right-handed, but I throw left-handed, so I don't know. It's just what I've always done.
I throw with my right and then reel with my left with both.
I'm trying to do both hands because there's especially I've been kayak fishing, and there's sometimes left or right a little better.
You got to be
I'm working on that.
Dexterous, like an all-star pitcher.
Yeah, I'm working on that. I ain't got there yet. And Jeremy May says, "Sorry for delayed support. Been busy trying to ash." I don't know what he's talking about, but okay, Jeremy, you're good, brother. Glad you're here, man. Jeremy has a question. Do you adjust your shaky head with water clarity?
Yeah, I'll change the color.
Yeah.
Up here in Ohio, I very rarely throw anything other than green pumpkin, but I can tell you if I go south, especially on the Tennessee River chain, Pickwick, Kentucky Lake, Barkley, I like to throw red bug or green pumpkin red. There are a couple lakes up here, Kentucky area, Yatesville. We like to throw watermelon or watermelon magic, something lighter, but green pumpkin is usually my standard go-to unless the fish tell me to do something different.
Oh, understand. And Miss Ashley says we worm draggers. Yeah,
that's right, Miss Ashley.
But she has a good point. Bass eat worms 365. I think 356. I mean, I think she meant 365 days a year.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a natural forage for them, and like I said, I don't think they necessarily always think that it's a worm. That's dropping. Now we get those caterpillars on the trees here.
Yeah.
I think sometimes they think they're those, but I also even with the yellow tip, especially on the tail, sometimes I think they think it's a bluegill feeding.
Oh, absolutely. And Mr. May has another question. He's getting educated tonight from you.
Jeremy, Jeremy, I'm an 1/8 ounce girl.
Yep.
Buckeye lures, buddy. Some people say to go heavier. I like the 1/8 ounce because I think it just makes it more natural to the fish.
Yeah.
If the current's moving, it doesn't matter how fast the current's moving. That 1/8 ounce is going to get down to the bottom, maybe a little slower at times.
Right.
But it gives it a natural feel or natural look to the fish if it's the 1/8 ounce and that bait is actually moving with the current. Because if you've got bait in that current, it's moving with the current. It's not sitting still.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So like I said, I'm an 1/8 ounce girl.
Yeah, I said that 1/8 ounce too. Like I said earlier, it instead of going like straight down, it kind of goes at an angle and it kind of glides.
Yeah, glides down a slow fall. And like I said, that the good thing about that is you're catching those fish that are suspended. If they're up, say 10 feet, and they just see something dropping down, they just think it's something natural coming to them. Versus, I hear the guys, oh, I throw a 2 ounce jig, or I throw an 1 1/4 jig, or this or that. That's just not something I do. Even in deep water. I'm not going to throw something super heavy because I was catching on this 1/8 ounce on 20-foot rock bluffs on Pickwick. I mean, it's just something that works everywhere.
Yeah,
you may have to slow down your retrieve, or you may have to just give yourself a count to 5 when you toss it in there.
Absolutely, and it sometimes seems like the heavier weight, so the fish has more leverage and gets unhooked. So sometimes that's a plus.
That, and if you're fishing rocky terrain, you're just that much more apt to break it off.
Yep. And it's going to happen. It happens.
Yeah. I can't believe John's not here tonight. We were supposed to be educating him on the shaky head because he's not a believer.
Oh, we'll make him a believer.
We're going to fix him this year. I got Rhonda planning on coming up to Lake Erie, and we'll have a little shaky head fiasco.
Oh, there you go.
We'll make.
Now you're talking. Then LaTanya says, Ashley Klaus, me too, talking about throwing left-handed. Yeah. Hey, LaTanya, I do the same thing. I throw left and reel right. That's what I've always done. But I'm trying to do a little bit of both, trying to get better. So I'm working on it. And then Jeremy May has another question. Says, do you catch more on the fall or bumping on the bottom?
Usually bumping against stuff on the bottom. It depends on what the fish are doing. If they're up in the water column actively feeding, you'll catch them. Fish after fish on the fall. But what I've generally found with the shaky head is they like the action of the bait when it bumps off of stuff, whether it's a rock or it's a piece of wood or a log or whatever may be laying on the bottom. The only place I've found that I can't throw a shaky head, and I absolutely despise fishing there because of it, is Lake Guntersville.
Yep.
Because of all the eelgrass on that
lake. It's got a ton.
It's one of those places where you have to go into a trap or, a one knocker or,
chatterbait. I'm big on chatterbait.
Something that stays up in the water column, and that's just that's not the method I like to fish. And I know you have to adjust to where you're at, but we spend a lot of our time up north now fishing. We're up at Lake Erie almost every weekend.
Sweet. Not a bad place to be.
No.
And Jeremy also says, "I'm here instead and learning." I think he means he's taking notes right now. Sharpen your pencil. Sharpen your pencil, Jeremy.
Yeah, like I said,
Yeah.
I'm a shaky head girl, and my husband sometimes will make me leave the shaky head in the rod locker just to force me to throw other baits. But usually, if we're fishing a team tournament, like there's days that the big fish are going to be more apt to hit a jig.
Yeah.
So if we're fishing a team tournament, he'll throw the jig on the front of the boat. I'll throw the shaky head out of the back of the boat. And we're doing that because we know I'm going to have 5 fish in the live well
Yep.
before he puts his first fish in the live well. Now, when you're fishing Major League Fishing style fishing, whether you're boat or non-boater, you don't have the ability to do that.
Yeah.
So the best thing that I know to say is if you're not catching big fish on a shaky head that day for whatever reason, get your 5 and then go to a frog or go to a jig or go to something to try to target the large fish once you have your 5 in the well. Because I can assure you with this bait that I throw, you're going to get 5 in the well early enough to transition over to something else.
Absolutely. I like the mag draft. I've done pretty good on mag draft in Guntersville, so get lucky every once in a
I
while.
may have to try that. We've only
Yep.
been down there the one time, and like I said, we were staying in the camper and got those couple nights where it got down to 13 degrees,
Yeah.
and it was. I mean, we had to dump antifreeze into the live wells with hot water to try to
Yep.
get because at the time we had that Ranger boat, and that plug is that flip switch,
Yeah.
and we couldn't even get the boat plugged to launch him in the morning.
Dang.
And yeah, we actually took the boat over before we figured out the antifreeze thing. We took it over there and set it in the water and then would pull back out to see if we could, it didn't melt off because, the water temperature was still relatively warm.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, that place is my arch nemesis. I pre-fished for a week down there and didn't hardly catch anything.
You and John got something in common now.
Yeah. That's one of very few places I can tell you that I've been and not had a good day on the water. And like I said, I think part of it's me being in denial and trying to force a bite that just wasn't there. And it's because of the dead eelgrass that lays on the bottom there.
Yeah.
And
But it gets tons of pressure. Tons of pressure.
And that's the other thing that I found with this. Like if you're fishing in the fall when there's been a lot of recent leaf fall, move to an area if you want to throw a shaky head, go to the rocks and stuff. Don't stay in the area where all those dead leaves and stuff are like compost on the bottom. Go to somewhere that's sandier or rockier or where the weeds haven't died off yet.
Yep.
And throw that bait.
Yep. And I've done pretty good. Like I think I had a BFL early 2000s, and the boater's throwing a jig at targets, and it'd be like just a long stretch of nothing banks. Well, I'd flip my shaky head out there and get bit.
Yeah.
I mean, just on nothing banks. I mean, it's.
Yes.
Yep. Jeremy says the eelgrass you will need to adjust to lighter weight. Yeah, I've done that on jig.
And like I said, I throw the 1/8 ounce now. I know Buckeye Lures does make a 16th ounce on a shaky head now. So I mean that may be something I look at the next time we go to Guntersville. But John, I'm telling you this, guys, it's just when you're 3 hours from Erie or 8 hours from Guntersville.
Easy choice.
It's real hard to make that trip down south. And like I said, we put that permanent camper up there. We actually have 2 campers up there now, but
oh, nice.
We put that permanent camper up there, and it's just my husband works 3 days a week, and usually Wednesday when he gets off, we take off, and we're there till Sunday every week.
Nice, not bad. That's a good way to unwind.
Yes.
And Jeremy says, do you prefer a shorter or longer bait for a shaky head? Which and when sizes are better?
I like the 7-inch Zoom trick worm. That is my go-to bait. And like I said, this is the same bait I use if I've got to change the color. A lot of fellas will throw the Magnum worm on a shaky head. I don't particularly like that because too many times the bass won't get the entire worm in their mouth and get the hook. With the Magnums, you break a lot more Magnums off, mid-shank to where the bass just didn't have it all the way in their mouths. Yep. With the 7-inch, I mean, you'll catch them all. You'll catch the little ones, you'll catch the big ones. And like I said, I'm not saying Zoom is the best one to use. I don't know. I just do well enough on the Zoom, and it's inexpensive to throw in the rod locker, and I do well enough that I haven't switched to anything else or tried anything else because I like the Zoom and I like the versatility of the colors that they offer.
Yeah, and that's what you got confidence in, and I think talking about the shorter worms has less action. That longer has that
That the
better
longer
action.
has the action. Now, I will tell you, there are days that they won't hit this worm.
Yep.
If they don't want that action, if they're just extremely sluggish for whatever reason, but if they won't hit this worm, I switch over to a Ned.
Yep.
So if I ever find a reason that they won't hit the trick worm on the shaky head, I just switch over to a Ned rig.
Yep. Oh, and talking about a Ned rig and smallmouth, I don't know what it is, but down here, if you use that chartreuse head and like
Chartreuse
that
head.
black,
Yep.
and that black Ned, it's called yoga pants. I think like black, that thing's lights out. When I got
Yes.
smallmouth, I tie that on. I get bit smallmouth
Well,
big time.
and I did figure out something new last year. Like I like to throw pink in the pre-spawn spawn.
Yep.
They love a bubblegum pink Zoom trick worm.
Oh yeah.
Same setup, same 1/8 ounce head. They go crazy over it, especially if you toss it, to the backside of their bed and just so roll it into the bed and it catches that current and it's wiggling in the bed. They cannot stand it. But yeah, I'll change colors in the pre-spawn too.
Yep. And that pink is red hot on Cumberland like year round. Pink
Is
spinner
it?
bait, pink worm, whatever. Pink just works down there. I don't know why, but it works.
And remember what I said about ladies, eye appealing, then functional.
Yep.
Yeah, I've got some pretty pink spinner baits that work really, really well on smallmouth.
Awesome. Yeah, they like those loud colors for sure.
Yeah.
And Miss Ashley says, summertime, I throw the Magnum trick worm. Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of guys do.
Yeah,
That's a good
I
worm.
know some ladies that do. Like I said, I don't switch over from the 7-inch because when they grab it, they have the whole worm. You're not having to wait to set the hook.
Oh, absolutely. And then one last comment here from Mr. May. Mr. Jeremy May says, because on the James, they like the 4-inch some days, and some days they want the 10-inch Magnum. I'm just trying to understand it. Thank you for your time, Mrs. Shaky Head. There you go.
I've never fished the James River, Jeremy. I'd be lying to you if I did. Like I said, if they won't hit the 7-inch, I never go bigger. I'll switch to a Ned rig.
Yep.
But I haven't found a reason with big fish, small fish, depth, none of that really matters, that a 7-inch won't work.
Absolutely.
And like I said, I think that little bit of spike it is important on these. And I think it's a scent attractant it's not the color, it's the garlic scent, the scent attractant for the bass. And I think it's just, like I said, it makes them hold on to it longer. But like I said, I'd love to get down to the James and try it out, but you'll have to let me know. Jeremy, make sure you go with the 7-inch and see how it works for you. And let me know what color you find works down there, because I'm telling you, like I said, up here it's usually green pumpkin, but depending on the weather at Kentucky Lake, if it's sunny or cloudy, you either the red bug or green pumpkin red. So I mean, there's some things that we have had to adjust with coloring on the Zoom trick worms, but usually up here green pumpkin will work.
Yep. And he says you may want to expand if you come this way.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yep. But anyway, we got a couple more minutes. I'll always like to. I'll ask John's question since he's not here. I'll do him a favor. What is your favorite homemade cookie?
My mom makes whoopie pies.
Ooh,
they're like
good.
a Suzy Q. They're a soft chocolate cookie with the whipped icing in the middle.
Ooh, nice.
That's my now. She only makes them on my birthday, so that may be why they're so special. Is because that's just just a birthday thing, because they're a pain in the butt to make.
Oh, I understand.
That's my all-time favorite, I think.
I got you. That's nothing wrong with that.
I know. I do like I'm a sweets person, so I do like chocolate chip. I do like oatmeal. I do like all of the things that are bad for me.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I'm the same way. And then one last thing, Mr. May says, appreciate you, Miss Shaky Head and gentlemen.
Thank you, Jeremy. I appreciate your input tonight.
Oh, absolutely. And is there any sponsors or anything you want to talk about, Fisher or some of your sponsors? Your floor is yours for a little bit.
Well, of course, with us building the brand, we are sponsoring several groups, several individuals. But I do have some people that have been faithful to me over the years. We've got Malone's Marine. at Chris down there, and most people know Chris from winning the Toyota Championship a few years ago down on Lake Cumberland, but he's my go-to guy. I've bought my last 2 boats off of him. Hubby bought his demo boat actually the last go round, so he's running Chris's 921 and I run the 721, but we ended up with him because we had some service issues at another dealer, and we went to Chris, and it's just, you're always comfortable. It doesn't matter that I'm a girl. It's like, we're buddies when I go in there. We argue over prices. We argue over, anything we can think of, but he's just a good, wholesome fella, and he's got a great group of guys down there with him. So kudos to them for making everything so comfortable for the customer down there. And I did just see him at Knoxville the other day, and I told him that I was getting ready to go fish the state qualifier for OBN, and he asked how much that was going to cost him, and I told him I would be down to see him soon. So I have Chris, and then I'm sponsored by Rec Lending. They're absolutely amazing. Todd Dracy out of Michigan, best rates out there. I've had 2 experiences purchasing a boat with them, and hubby's had 1, and they are phenomenal. If you go to a dealership, a lot of times they submit your credit to 20 different banks, trying to get that approval and get the best rate. With Rec Lending, they don't submit you anywhere. They do a soft pool, figure out based on your credit where would be the best option for them to send you to.
Right.
And you get 1 credit pool instead of 20. And like I said, as far as rates go, and I know that they were offering some 599, which hasn't been heard of in about the last 3 years.
Wow.
But they were offering some boat show rates at 599 for up to 20 years. So that's pretty phenomenal based on the rates that I've been hearing, the 8 and 12% over the last couple years. Now, when I bought my Phoenix, I was at 575. Then I did do the long term, and like I said, it was with the help of Rec Lending that we got that taken care of. So Rec Lending, we're tied in with Fish Sticks now. They're doing rods for Fish Her, specialty rods that we designed. Dale and his wife Wendy are absolutely awesome. Wendy hand ties the rods and things, and then Dale uses their logo on them for us. They're absolutely amazing. Great people. And as far as anything else, I didn't really seek out sponsorships last year. We worked on building Fish Her, and we were set on trying to get into the state qualifier for OBN, which, like I said, Angie and I did both make it. So we'll be fishing that this year. We may look at some sponsorship opportunities because Angie and I are the first 2 women, at least in the last 10 years in Ohio, to make it to that state championship. Nice. Probably longer than the last 10 years, but the fella that we signed up through, Danny, he's been involved in it for the last 10 years with the clubs here in Ohio, and he hasn't seen a female angler compete at that level. So Angie and I are super excited about that, and hoping one of us can at least pull through to get to the national qualifier and then the classic, because I know it's been a lot of years. There's only been 2 ladies ever make it to the classic, and it's been several years before any female has been there. So I know we're going to put a lot of our eggs in that basket, but I think Angie and I are also going to fish a couple club tournaments together. We'll probably be fishing with 2 chicks in a boat for a couple of tournaments, and there's like Harbor and River Series and things up on Lake Erie. We'll be fishing some of those, but that will be in preparation for that qualifying event too, because lucky for me, that qualifier is out of the Detroit River this year, so in July. So we're really excited about, because our camper's about 40 minutes from that Trenton launch.
Nice.
So yeah, we'll get a lot of pre-fishing in. I don't know how much tournament fishing we're going to get in this year, and like I said, that's why I haven't really actively sought out sponsors over the last couple of years. But I will tell you, we provide jerseys for Custom Hard Tackle down in Jackson as well. They're just amazing, small town, husband and wife and their little son, go out in the shed and paint baits and stuff. But they reached out to us to find out what specialty baits we would like for up there, so they can provide baits and things for us.
Nice. Can't beat that. And you've been doing a lot for high school teams and some teams, some custom designs. Just really, but if you guys go to the website, she's got a ton of designs, so you'll find something you like.
It's really hard to like I said, seek out sponsorship when you're not really sure what direction the year is going to go for you. And last year we didn't fish as much as we wanted to because we were so busy trying to develop Fish Her, trying to develop other lady anglers, trying to link with, the college, Rio Grande College and some of the high schools and things that we've linked with to provide gear for. But this year has been absolutely phenomenal. I mean, I'm crazy busy, but I'm telling you, fishing season, Pinky's going to be in the water somewhere.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And I'm gonna try to make it up to Columbus. They've changed my travel schedule a little bit. I'm gonna try to sneak up there maybe Saturday or Sunday. So hopefully I can sneak up there and see you guys and hang
Look
out.
for the pink booth, buddy. We're
There
not
you go.
hard to find. We'll
I hear
actually
you.
be over by Fisherman Central, and they're one of our
Oh yeah.
They're one of our retailers in Port Clinton, so they have our
Yep.
gear in store. So we'll get to argue with Dave Wakeham a little bit while we're up there, and that's it's funny. We had went to Fisherman Central before we ever went in store. The lady that runs the place, she's really the boss, Cheryl.
Yep.
She loved our gear. We gave her a jersey, and she kept telling Dave, "Hey, we need this stuff in store."
Yep.
Well, Dave was in denial, and then we saw Dave at the Columbus Fishing Expo. And Dave came to our booth probably a dozen times, and he's like, "Man, I really need this in store." And I said, "Cheryl has been telling you this for months, Dave."
Yep.
So that's how we ended up at Fisherman Central. But we great people. I mean, we love them to death, and they do a lot for their community up there as far as sponsorships and things as well. So we may reach out to Dave and twist his arm over this tournament that we're fishing up there for that state qualifier.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And talking about tackle shops, I gotta go to in a couple of weeks. Ohio River Outdoors. I know Doug and his group does a great job. One of the best looking shops in the East.
Doug is absolutely awesome, and we will actually be down there Valentine's weekend. So if you're in the Parkersburg area and you're looking for something to do with the wife for Valentine's Day, dinner and date night at the tackle box, because you can use the excuse, "Hey, Fish Her is going to be there." And we will be there. We'll have our jerseys and some of our other gear with us. So if you're looking for something to do for Valentine's Day and you would like for it to be a stop at the local tackle store, make sure you let your wife know that Fish Her is going to be down there at Ohio River Outdoors. And yeah, Doug is phenomenal. I mean, we love him to death, and his staff down there are great as well. So, but he is in the retailer that currently has our Fish Her rods in store.
Oh, cool.
So if you're looking for a special gift for the wife or girlfriend and you would like to spend time with her, because I can tell you from personal experience, when my husband my husband used to raccoon hunt all the time. He ran red bone dogs. And one year for Christmas, he bought me a light, the headlamp light, to go hunting with him. And that just meant the world to me, because it was, "Hey, this is part of my life, but I want you to spend time with me too." So, I want it to become part of your life. And if you've got that wife or girlfriend who's not on the fence about getting on the boat with you, it's a perfect opportunity to go buy her a rod and reel and hand it to her and say, "Happy Valentine's Day." And that, like I said, that believe it or not, even to a lady that doesn't fish, is meaningful. And that's going to get her on the water with you.
Absolutely. Good point. That's a win-win right there.
Yes, absolutely.
But hey, we enjoyed having you, Miss Tricia, and hey, best of luck.
Thanks for putting up with me. There's not much arguing involved when John's not here.
That's true. He's a little stubborn. He's kind of like the grumpy old man.
He's a low ball of fire.
He is. His poor wife. That's all I can say.
I know. I feel for her.
That's true. But and then I know you got Columbus coming up. What's any other shows after Columbus?
We've got Columbus, and then, like I said, Doug reached out to us, so we decided to go there Valentine's weekend. The following week, we had some opportunities, but it's my granddaughter's birthday, so we're going to stay in Ohio that weekend. In March, we will be at the Palmetto Outdoor Show in South Carolina, and then shortly after, we'll be at the Chico Show in Pennsylvania. Okay. And then I think things are going to finally start settling down a little bit for us for the year. But we do set up, like up at my campground at Lake Erie a couple times a year. We set up at some of the OBF tournaments. OBF, we're doing their jerseys and weigh bags now. So they have us come bring the trailer to some of their outings that they have. So if you follow us on our Fish Her page on Facebook, that's where we're always posting updates on where we're going to set up. We've got an amazing concession trailer that we kind of run like a little mini boutique store.
Yeah.
So it's nothing for us to just hook it up and go set up somewhere for a day.
Nice. But you'll have a well-deserved break, I guarantee you.
It's been a lot. Poor Angie's back. I tell her she's just getting too old. But between her back and my knees from the setup and tear down from the last couple weeks, but at least it's not. You really want to get into an area. When we went to Lawrenceburg, and of course you saw we've got big wooden shelves and things.
Oh yeah. Yep.
And it's pretty heavy, to pack in and stuff. But we pack them in, we set them up ourselves, and thank the Lord for her husband, because he's built our shelving, he's built our clothing racks and all of that. But at Lawrenceburg, we had about 6 or 8 inches of snow on the ground. Oof. And had to pack our stuff up a hill to go into the building, so we couldn't even put it on our carts or roll our carts in. We had to pick them up and carry them up this hill. And like I said, it was an amazing venue. Don't get me wrong, but some of the other vendors, after they got set up, went to their hotel room at the Hilton that was right next door instead of moving their trucks out of the way.
Yeah. Don't blame them.
So that was interesting, but yeah, it's been amazing, and we look forward to more outings. Red Crest has reached out to us several times.
Nice.
We're trying to decide if we can justify the cost of going to Red Crest. We also there's a new tournament that they're hosting in Alabama on Gunnersville in the fall.
Yeah, United or something.
Yeah, but they're requesting that we come down there for their outdoor venue. So again, in the fall we've got qualifiers, we got championship tournaments and stuff, so it's hard to plan ahead before they start putting out those schedules or those championship dates.
Oh, absolutely.
So that may be one that we try to look into. But if you follow our page on Facebook, that Fish Her page, we'll tell you exactly where we're going to be and when we're going to be there, and probably a whole bunch of other nonsense that you really don't need to hear. We just we're having so much fun. We're constantly putting stuff on there.
Oh, absolutely. But well, good deal. Well, we all enjoyed you teaching us some new stuff, some tricks about the shaky head, and we appreciate you. And continued success to you and Miss Angie. Y'all work hard, and you deserve everything you get. And hope to catch up with you guys in Columbus.
Yeah, we'll see you there, Rob. Thank you again.
Okay, and hang on for a couple minutes after we get off. We'll talk in just a minute. So
okay.
But with that, guys and gals, y'all have a blessed night, and hope my buddy John gets better. He's a little under the weather. And with that, tune in tomorrow night. We thank you all for subscribing and liking, and we'll catch you on the flip side. Peace out.
Bye, guys.
See ya.